All right, so there's a lot of information regarding oscillations and reasons why you get them. And I'm going to try to make this more specific to what you're saying. Try to make it so you can try to get past these oscillations. So back to the props, since the thing that you've done is change your props, there's a couple of things that could be causing your oscillations specifically, but there's also a lot of other things that can be causing it. But let's just talk about the props. So if your props are not balanced, okay, and I'm sorry, I'm driving to work, so I'm just trying to do this video real quick so I can help you out. So if your props are not balanced, you'll see oscillations at higher throttles. So like when you punch it, so what happens, like let's say you have a good pair of props that you can keep bending back to straight. Like I use dowel props because they're just like almost indestructible. So you keep bending them back every time you crash, and you're fine for a while. But once that prop gets to the point where one of them, you just can't get it really straight, and it's out of balance to a point where it's, you know, it's done, then it's time to change those props because you're getting oscillations from them, and you'll only notice them at higher throttles because the higher throttle affects it more than, you know, at a lower throttle. So it could be that the props are crap. This damn phone is fighting me. So it could be that your props are crap. The other thing is, like you said, if your frame is flexy and it's flexible, and you already know it's kind of flexy and it flexes when you punch it, that's also could be a cause, because when you're really gunning your throttle or you're really pulling in that frame and all of a sudden the prop is facing a different direction, oh boy, and it'll wobble because it'll try to pull all over the place. Think of like a garden hose spraying loose, flipping all over the place. That garden hose is flexing and it's changing direction all over the place. Not to that degree, but it kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. So it could be the frame causing these oscillations. So how do you rule out one or the other? Well, it's easy. Either you have another pair of the same props and you try those, and if it still exists, then either all the props are crap or it's not the props per se. And to totally rule out the props, what you do is you need a balancer. You can probably rig one up. What you really have to do is mount the prop vertically on something that'll allow it to turn and spin. If you have, you know, a couple of magnets and some double stick tape and, you know, a metal pin or something like that, you can make something work. But that's really the only thing you can do is check the balance, and you'll know it's unbalanced if one prop really swings down and sits at the bottom really fast every time. Then it's a prop or all of the props. So I don't remember what props you said you bought. I don't know if they're good or not, but that's how you rule that out. Also, I don't know what props you had before that, how much oomph those props had, or if you've changed batteries or anything like that. Sometimes when you have more oomph, the issues with a tune start to come out, especially at higher throttles. So it may need a retune, and it's not just like raising the P gain, because sometimes when you have too much P gain, you can cause oscillations. So it may be that you've just got some new hardware on the quadcopter and you've got to retune from square one, like drop all your gains, go out, like go to a stock tune maybe. If you're not on a stock tune, try a stock tune, see how it flies, and if you don't have any oscillations, go from there. Or drop it all the way down to the lowest you can and fly, and then bring them up gradually. If there's no oscillations as you do this, or they disappear as you do this, you found your problem. You know, so it could be that you've got more oomph. The other thing is, if you've had a crash, like a hard crash, before you've put these props on, is it possible you've bent a motor shaft and your motor is out of balance. Then you're creating oscillations because of that. And again, the imbalances with your props and your motors and things like that are more prominent at higher throttles, because when the prop is spinning faster, that vibration can affect the quadcopter more. It becomes more aggressive and faster. So I would say that based on what you're saying, that it's probably the frame. And not my phone, because it's just sliding everywhere. It's probably the frame. You know, if you're running a real flimsy, flaxy kind of frame, it's likely an issue. But if it were me, I would just go back and I would retune from scratch. If I thought the props were good, I would retune from scratch. I'd go back to either a stock PID profile, or I'd lower them and I'd go from there and see if I can get rid of the oscillations. And if the oscillations were still there after a good thorough attempt at tuning, I would say, okay, I'm either putting the old props back on until I get a new frame, or I'm gonna fly it the way it is until I get a new frame. And if you get a new frame and the oscillations are gone, well, you know the frame that you had is just not good enough for a prop that is as aggressive as the prop you have. So I hope this video helped you. I did it real quick. I'm sorry if I rambled on or anything like that, but I hope I can kind of give you some insight into getting that thing working so that there's no oscillations. And I know oscillations are really annoying, especially when you don't know where they're from, because you just want to fly and have fun and enjoy it, and you can't when your quad's oscillating every time you punch it. But hopefully you can figure it out. So take it easy.